live. You're live. You're sitting there right now live. And I know that probably, by the way, my name is Daena Giardella. And I am sitting here live with you. And sometimes when I'm aware that I am alive, I get tingles inside. I don't know about you, but I'm getting them right now because I'm live. And I know that you're live and that right now probably you're sitting there with a remote control in your hand. And the only reason you're here is maybe you're on your way somewhere else. I don't know, are you on your way to Channel 5 or maybe 35, going to CNN? Or maybe, actually, you know, I know where you're going. You're probably going down into Channel 2. And I understand that there is a show going on right now about the Amazon. Now, why would I tell you what's going on in the other channels? Because I feel that it's very important for everybody to be very honest about what's happening in the moment. And right now, wait a second, I'm getting a strong impulse here to listen to something that's happening to my right. And that is to say that right now, I know I'm in the present moment. And whether or not you're there or not, I'm in the present moment. You see how somebody can be right there with you, even though you didn't know they were going to be there in the moment that you're in? The thing that I'm interested in doing right now in my life, I don't know if you feel this way, but in my life is being in my present moment. Sometimes I feel like my present moment is so full of the past that I can't even find my present moment. Now, don't disagree with me because I know you're ready to have a big issue with this. Listen, you are the voice in my head that says, don't talk about the past, just be in the moment. But you know what? I got a lot of past in my moment. And right now, I know you out there, right? You're ready. You've got your fingers itching on that remote control to probably go somewhere else. But I'm just inviting you to imagine what might happen if you take a risk and stay in this present moment with me. Because actually, I should make one thing clear, because it's a very big risk to be in the present moment. Because when you're in the present moment, anything can happen. And you know what? That's right. Something from over there cannot ever be the blame of what's going on. You can't blame, for example, the future. Like here's the future right now. It just came in out of nowhere. And right now the future wants to tell me, you know, what I should be doing. Do you ever have a problem where you're thinking, so you're sitting, like right now I'm sitting. Are you sitting? Well, you're probably sitting. Or maybe you're lying down. Maybe you're lying down in bed, you're exhausted. It's a very tired feeling. It's a Tuesday, right? Oh, the work week is so tired. And you're sitting there. And all of a sudden, you get the lists going. Do you ever get that thing where the lists about the future start coming? You start thinking about all the things you should be doing in the future that you're not doing now, the to-do list for tomorrow, and then all of a sudden, you get that tap on the shoulder. Like right now, I'm getting a tap on the shoulder, and it's pulling me over, right over here to the past. Now, sometimes when you're in the past, you have a tremendous amount of processing to do. You know, I want to make something very clear right now. I've had a lot of therapy, okay? And I know a lot of times you don't hear people talk about that on television. Maybe you're on a talk show, you know, and you hear people talk about their lives and the things they've done in their lives, but they don't directly say, you know, I'm working on my process. I mean, how many times do you hear people say that? Well, in Cambridge, you hear it a lot. And since this is Cambridge, Somerville, I like to say Cambridge, Somerville, because you see, I'm really from Cambridge. That's where I consider that I'm really connected to living. But I'm one of the rent control refugees that somehow made it over into Somerville. You see, it was a migration. You could call it, what? A forced migration. But anyway, here's the past, and I've had all this therapy, right? And sometimes I stare at my past. And my past looks at me, and it rears its head. It comes out usually as random chords. Did you ever have random chords, musical chords, coming from your past? Images from something you've done years ago. Something at your grandmother's house. Something at your grandmother's house that was very, what? Delicious. Well, at my grandmother's house, it was always delicious. So I'm sitting here right now and I'm aware of something. I don't know about you, but I have to tell you this, and I probably am telling my grandmother right now, which is that I did not eat this evening. Now, you see, if I ever told my grandmother that, she would immediately come in with a plate of raviolis, because that's what grandmothers do, especially my grandmother. So here I am right now. I'm in this present moment, but my past is calling me. And my past is saying, you love to eat your grandmother's raviolis, and you really wish you could eat them in that particular place in East Boston, where you remember sitting under that vine where the grapes would fall down, my grandfather would catch them and make them into wine, and you could just look at that wine. You didn't even have to drink it, just look at it, and you'd get drunk. That's how strong it was. So I'm sitting here now with you. Or maybe you just came back. Oh, did you go? Hey, that's all right. You went too? Where'd you go? Channel 5? I know it's on Channel 5 because I took the time to get connected to that. You see, I want to do something right now. I want to make sure that the ratings for this show definitely go down right now, because I think that it's important to make sure that you don't get too caught up in the May ratings sweep. So what I'd like to do is insist that the ratings go down by telling you a couple of things. I'm going to tell you about everything else that's on so that maybe you will feel free to be a choice about being here right now with me. Because, you know, if you're not in the present moment out of choice, I want to tell you, it is a very tough road. And you know that, right? I mean, even when we've had years of therapy, being forced to be somewhere that we don't want to be. Why are you looking at me like that? Oh, I know why. Oh, you're shy, aren't you? Well, actually, you know what? Now I'm feeling shy, too. Well, I'd really like to look straight into your eyes, but you know what happens when I do that? I start to remember that, well, my ratings might go down if I really let you know what I'm truly thinking about. Actually, I feel my ratings are going down right now. Do you hear that? My ratings are just going right down, and I think one of the reasons might be that, well, I have to come clean. I'd like to announce that this show will have low ratings for the following reasons. There will be no explicit sex tonight. And I will not violently kill anybody. I will not chop anybody's legs off. And I probably will not have Monica Lewinsky on the show. Excuse me, what was that? What? We have Monica Lewinsky? Oh, no, please, don't force me. Listen, all right, I admit it. I am part of the popular culture. I admit it. I am from Cambridge, but I cannot help being affected. All right, why? Oh, you're going to confront me? All right. What? I go into Circuit City, right? All I want are some tapes. So I go into Circuit City, and I think I'll go in, I'll get the tapes and leave. But, oh, you know, right? You know what's happening at Circuit City. You go in, there's 14 televisions playing. You can't escape the televisions. They're all around. And what are they playing? They're playing that man who is named after one of the most sacred things that I can consider in the universe, a star. Why would he be named Star? Why would we take such a beautiful word like star and connect it to a word like Kenneth and have to be bombarded with that combination of syllables over and over and over? If you wish upon a star, you would want to pull someone's pants down and have the world look out at him with his pants hanging down. You see, this is the other reason the ratings are going to go down, because I'm going to create spontaneous songs about whatever comes into my mind, because I'm at the point in my life where I feel, and maybe you feel this way too. Oh, you do too? You see, they do too. You feel this? I feel like if I have a song in my heart, if I have a feeling, something that's just in my throat, do you ever get that feeling? Do you ever get that feeling where you're in your throat? Now, sometimes when you stand up, it causes the world to go into a really crazy adjustment period. Now, I think what I ought to do right now is I ought to do that again. Just practice the art of standing up so that I don't lose my head. Because sometimes when a person stands up too quickly in life, they lose their head. And if you lose your head, What is this? I'm standing here with my race sheet and I'm standing up now. I feel like I'm at Wonderland or something here. You know, this is how the guys stand at Wonderland. I'm at the dog track. I stood up. Why am I standing up? I'm standing up. Why? Because I just bet some money on what? I bet some money on a dog. My dog is out there. Breadbasket. I put some money on Breadbasket. Now you see, there's a reason I put money on Breadbasket, and I'm going to tell you why. I told you a minute ago, right? I'm hungry. I didn't eat tonight. It doesn't matter what character I play, that character is going to be hungry. So I put money on a dog named Breadbasket. That's because Breadbasket is going to be my dog. If Breadbasket comes in, I'm going to get some food. I'm going to go out and get a hand dog. A hand dog. What the heck is a hand dog? A hand dog is when you start to say hamburger and you think about Frankfurter, hot dog, and then you put it together and it comes out hand dog. Well, I want to say something to you right here. You see that over there? Yeah, you could. Come on, am I turning you on? Come on, turn on. I knew I could turn you on. You know how I knew I could turn you on? Because if you focus on anyone long enough, they get turned on. Yeah, whether they're machine or person. Well, I'll tell you one thing. Right now, a hand dog, that's the other reason that the ratings are going to go so low. Because there's going to be all these double entendres here, and people are going to be thinking, what does she mean, hand dog? Hand dog could be a couple of things. A hand dog could be something you chomp on, but right here, I got my race sheet right here. I'm going to sit now. I'm warning you, because sometimes when you sit too fast, a person can lose their lower parts really fast. I'm going to sit now. It's going to be a surgical event. You see that? You see how I help you out to stay connected with me? Right now, I have a deep feeling coming over me, and it's pulling me. No. Don't do that. Don't you dare turn that channel. Okay, don't turn it. Don't turn it. And if you do, I don't care. What would happen if Barbara Walters and Hugh Downs, every time they saw someone turn the channel, expressed their real feelings about that on 2020? Maybe on 60 Minutes, Mike Wallace jumped right out at the viewer and said, if you turn that channel, our ratings are going to go down. Stay tuned to us. You know what they'd do? They would take this and they would say to you, nothing else is on tonight. I'm not going to tell you that right now Jodie Foster is on. No, I'm not going to tell you that. First of all, I am not really on television right now. I want to dispel that myth. I need to come clean. Do you know why? Because number one, I am not blonde. So I can't be on television. It's an optical illusion. And number two, can I say number two on television? Number two, my hair is long and curly. Now, you see, when you're on television, usually you have to make adaptations because there is a look that usually exists on television. And every decade or every few years, there is a different aspect to that look. Now, for example, I'm going to adapt my look right now because I think maybe it would make me more television worthy. What do you think? Maybe, but you see, if I turn too much this way, then you see that I have this Cambridge experience here, you know, this Cambridge experience. This is the dead giveaway right here. This is where you know I am not an anchor. Can you imagine going through life filling out application forms? Everywhere it says, what is your career? What is your job? What is your employment history? And you keep writing anchor. Anchor. Can you imagine how the English language is used in such a variety of ways? For example, right now, I feel very anchored to this seat. And the reason I feel anchored to it is because I'm with you right now. And I would not abandon you. I mean, there is a part of me. You're seducing me. I can feel it right now. You're seducing me with the idea that I could just walk out of here right now. I could walk. I mean, listen, it's dead air live, right? I could just create an event that would be dead air, live. And, you know, I would just say something. I find that a scintillating prospect. What do you think? I think I want to get involved here in a cross conversation because there is a part of me that does triangulate. And right now I'm going to triangulate on this subject. The possibility that I might walk out of here and just leave everything because there is a part of all of us, that's right, a deep, dark part of all of us that wants to abandon the moment we're in. Why? Because there's always a very seductive moment somewhere else. Sometimes we want to just get out of the moment we're in and we want to just peer over at what is just over there because we have an idea that maybe we would be given everything we need. I know you're ready to give me everything I need. Now you see, right here, my past is in my hands. Can you see this? My past. I'm here now talking about the present moment, but my Italian genetic encoding is in my fingers. I can't get away from it. But I'm on television, and you never should be too ethnic on television. So I'm going to sit on my hands for you, the television viewer, because, well, actually, I really love you, and I've needed you my whole life. And I'm really happy that you're here now, and you're not watching that movie that's on, Extreme Measures. Extreme Measures is on now. You could watch that on one of your other channels. It's happening right now. You know, Hugh Grant is in it. And I'm sitting here right now on my hands thinking about Hugh Grant. For some reason, I'm getting a simultaneous image. I'm getting an image that says,
Oh, you flubbed up the word simultaneous. Now they realize that you are not a walking thesaurus. They realize that you make mistakes. So you could just take your hands from underneath your behind, young lady, because you are no longer flawless. I'm going to tell you right now, most people on television are flawless. They have been edited and re-edited and re-edited. And you know what now, young lady? You're filthy flawed. You said simultaneous. You said that, and you thought they were going to think in their seats at home, oh, she must be live. And you all got interested at that moment, didn't you?
I know it's true. As soon as somebody makes a mistake, that's when everybody gets interested. Have you ever seen those moments in the weather forecast when the whole map falls down? I have physical pleasure when I see things like that happen on TV. Like right now, I just said, when I see things like that happen, and I felt a thrill. You see, if I'm not identified with the part of myself that wants to just rush in there and judge mistakes, a secret seduction comes up around mistakes. Have you ever seen an anchor read from a piece of paper that doesn't match the film? Oh, it's so delicious because then you know it's live. Or have you ever seen somebody standing out there at one of those terrible disaster scenes, right? Oh, they're all over the place. And the cameras, can I ask you a question? Why do the cameras always get there before the medics? What is this? I mean, immediately, they're in. That poor guy, his children are being held hostage, he's being held hostage, and they've got 35 camera crews in on his living room before they even get the help. I don't want to digress, but I have to just say something. I think that's very bizarre, and it's a symptom of a decaying culture. Basically, I think we are in decline. This isn't Orson Welles. I'm not doing this end of the world. There's no invasion coming, but basically, I am coming here with a message tonight. Things are bad, things are serious. But what was I saying a moment ago? I had another point I was making. It started over here. I was thinking about something, and then it moved over to that. I was thinking about mistakes. You see, I take my ginkgo. My ginkgo helps me with my memory. I was thinking about the ways you're watching that newscaster at the disaster scene right now. I am just filling up with how impressed I am that I could retrieve that memory. I am over 35, and I actually retrieved a memory. Oh, I'm so thrilled. I mean, lately in the last decade of my life, I have been thinking that basically there is no time for past. I don't have to do therapy anymore about my past because I can't remember 5 minutes ago. Like that segue, do you know how hard I worked just now to remember that I was talking about a disaster scene? But you see, that's interesting because that's symbolic. Carl Jung would say that was symbolic. I lost my memory at the disaster scene. Why? Because it was a disastrous internal scene when I realized I couldn't remember what I was talking about. And I was doing everything I could to mask that, like I am now, because I actually can't remember what I was going to say about the disaster scene. But listen, I promised you the present moment, and I'm going to give you the present moment. See what happens when you accept yourself in the moment? What happens is you remember what you were going to say. There's that newscaster, and he's standing there, and he's going on and on about the disaster scene behind him, and you know what? There's no audio. There's no audio feed. So he's talking, and he's motioning, and you're feeling the accompanying anxiety / almost sexual pleasure. Can you say that word on television? I don't know. I did. It's all right. I don't mean any harm by it. But anyway, there's almost a combination of feelings that are going on. Anxiety, a little charge, anxiety, a little charge. You start to get really interested, right? He could be announcing, what? Baked potatoes. He could be talking about the disastrous baked potato that just fell off somebody's plate. Where? At a restaurant, somewhere in Cambridge. Where? Christopher's. I guess I just plugged Christopher's. I wonder if they'll give me a free meal. Well, anyway, he could be just announcing that disaster, which for me, if I were eating dinner, would be a disaster. But he has no audio feed. So you, the viewer, get totally turned on. Why? We love to watch other people in the moment of a mistake. Why? Because we're human. We're human. We've always been and always will be human. We're human. We've always been and always will be human. Human being is our name. Human being is our, game. And we all feel very, very human when we flub a dub-dub. In the tub of our life, we say, I'm clean. I'm not. I'm filthy, dirty with mistakes. I'm flawed. I'm not George Bernard Shaw. I'm just human. Did that imply that George Bernard Shaw is not human? Well, if it did, I want to apologize to his family, to his estate, to anyone else that may have been offended by that, to my instructor at Emerson State College. Now, why would I say Emerson State College? You see, because I have invoked the genie of mistakes. And now that I've done that, I will say things like Salem University and Emerson State College. I might also say Harvard State College. I get pleasure saying that, actually. Harvard State College. Harvard is a good state college. As a state college goes, Harvard is pretty good. I think it's good to have a state college that has bought a city, basically. And I enjoyed living in the city of Harvard when I was there, or I should say Cambridge. They let it be called Cambridge because, well, they want to make everybody feel like, you know, it's egalitarian. And I've always liked that word egalitarian because, I don't know, it's sort of like I'm a gal and egalitarian. I feel like, you know, egalitarian. It gives me a choice to spit, egalitarian. It gives me an opportunity to spit out my justice and my truth. Les Miserables. Now, how many people have found themselves trying to speak French and they add 2 or 3 syllables like Les Miserables? You go to France and you say Les Miserables and people think, no. Don't give her the time of day. And right now, I am descending into that generic accent that is all over the world. I could be French, I could be Arabic, I could be from Turkey, I could be from what? South America? I could be from anywhere. It's okay, you want to come, you don't want to, oh, you're going to come, huh? I bring on that accent and you're there immediately. You know why? Because Hugh Grant is on the other channel now. What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? I'll tell you what. Hugh Grant is on the other channel in a program called Extreme Measures. And the moment I bring up his name, I have no idea, but I just see an image. And I don't know if I should share this, but this is the present moment, and I'm supposed to be in the present moment. But all I see is a woman's mouth. Open. wide. Hugh Grant and a woman's mouth. And then I see a steering wheel in a car. And I see lights. It's late. And then I hear something. I hear another woman screaming that she feels that she will have to resort to extreme measures because she just turned on what? The television, where everyone gets their news about their relationship. That is, if you're famous. And she just found out about this woman and her mouth. Now, I'm not going to go into any detail here because I told you my ratings are going to be very low. But for some reason, why would I have... Now, that was a fly. There is a fly in this moment. The moment I brought up the subject of this woman's mouth and Hugh Grant, I just have to say, a fly came. Now, I don't know why, but I know that if that woman's mouth were open long enough, yes, things fly in. What can you do? I mean, things fly in. Things fly in. They just flew in. I was driving down the street, and the woman flew into the car, and what can I say? Things fly in, fly out, they fly in. It wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault at all. I just was driving by, and a woman came and just sort of flew into my car. I mean, there's nothing. What's the big spectacle about? There's not a big spectacle. What have to make a spectacle of it? Why would I be thinking about that? You see, this is the problem or the enticement about being in the present moment, because right now, I could be sitting here sedately. In fact, I think I will. I think I'll right now have a sedate moment. In fact, I think I could really enjoy sedating myself. Breathe deep. Relax. Release all images of popular culture. Release Kenneth Starr from between your teeth. Release the idea that our president may have, release the idea that right now there are people whose main job is to distract us from the present moment by filling our heads with scandal. Release all the scandal. Be here in this moment. Oh, go ahead. What's that? You need to turn to CNN just to be sure that Pakistan hasn't built another bomb? I understand that. Our central nervous system is now plugged into a satellite. Up high. You can thank Ronald for that. Ronald turned Star Wars into a hookup so that we all get the news from everywhere in the world at the same moment that it's happening. It's coming in right now on the ticker tape. Do you hear it? There's something happening right now in Gozo. Have you ever been to Gozo? It's a small island near Malta. And right now, a woman has just found moths in her wool. She's very unhappy. But release even that thought and come back to this moment. Oh, go ahead. You know you want to stop flipping that channel. I know what you need. I understand. I hear you. I do hear you. Don't you love it when people, mostly people from Cambridge, say to whatever you say, I hear you. I hear you. No, I'm hearing you. I heard you. No, I'm really, really aware of hearing you. That's a new one now. I'm aware of hearing you. I'm aware that I heard you while I was hearing you. No, I'm aware that I didn't hear you. I'm aware right now that I'm aware of not hearing you. And I am very aware that you're not aware. So I don't think we can have a relationship. I'm sorry, but I'm aware that I need to say that to you. And I hear that that's hard to hear. I hear that that's hard to hear. I really hear that that's hard to hear. Why are you looking at my face? You should be listening to what I'm saying, because I'm very calm. Don't look at my face, because my face is betraying my serenity. I seek serenity. I seek serenity because serenity is something that I know I will never have. No. That was just a moment of truth mixed in with a lot of other affirmation. I affirm this moment, and I hope you affirm this moment. Now, one thing I'm aware of, I am aware right now that our relationship is triangulated. There are basically 3 places that I can focus. I want to be with you, but I always feel the pull to you. I feel the pull to you because you give me something that, well, they can't give it to me. You give me my right side. You give me my right side. Now, some people would say that's the masculine side. Some people would say it's actually the creative right brain side. I am very, very confused about right and left, to tell you the truth. So I'm just going to say you give me my right side, and I'm going to stand slowly now. I just wanted to warn you. I like having a relationship with you because I feel like you're very tuned into me. May I stand? I don't know why I'm just feeling like a little bit like Marilyn Monroe now. May I stand? Why does every woman feel that there is some part of this that we have to do in order to have our right side? I mean, I don't know why this is coming over me, but I just feel like saying, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to Jack. Jack. Now, why would I start talking about Jack while I'm with you? See, that's my problem. I'm with you and I think about Jack. Why? Because I've seen too much film noir lately. When? Any chance I can. Why? I already answered why. When? Any chance I can. Why? Because I like film noir. What? It's about time you got off why. When? What? Film noir is that kind of film that makes you feel noir. I like to feel noir. Right now I can't help but wonder, what kind of a shot am I in? Do you have me from here? Do you have me up here? Do you have me in tight? Hey, how in tight can you get me? This is a noir moment. I'm in a film noir moment right now, and if I had a cigarette, it would be right here. But instead, I look like some kind of Winston Churchill film noir character. Everywhere I go, I'm just flashing you the victory sign. Why? Because I've quit smoking. It blows the film noir, doesn't it, not to smoke? You're taking a big risk staying tuned to this channel 3 right now if you're in Somerville. But I want to thank the Somerville Producers Group for making this possible, for you to stay tuned into me, because can you imagine the crisis I would be in right now, the personality disorder I'd be in if I was at home doing this in front of the mirror? Just this. People do this, you know why? Because they're in a film noir moment and they don't know what else to do with themselves. Oh, Jack. Jack is pulling me. Oh, I want to stay with you, but Jack's over here. You don't mind, do you, if I triangulate a little with Jack? Jack. Oh, Jack, can I sit down? I just want to sit down right here, Jack. Oh, there's no chair there, Jack. Jack, I just nearly sat in dead air. Oh, Jack, there's something so arousing about sitting on a squeaky chair. I just love it. The closer you get, the more I need Noxema. Can you tell I was raised all those years through the 50s? The closer you get, the more you need Noxema. Noxema, medicated suntan lotion. It's not a suntan lotion, but I said that anyway. You know why? Because I've always wanted to take a commercial and do something different with it. You know why? Because I was raised on commercials. I'm sorry, Jack. I have to leave you right now. There's a reason I have to leave you, Jack. You know, there's a lot of incredible power to changing your perspective, because I want to do a commercial now and I'm not going to tell you where I want to do it. You know why? Because you, the viewer, you want to go with me, don't you, in a journey from this moment over here. So you can watch me from different angles. And I'm going to tell you right now, Tide gets out the stains. And when you go out with Jack, there's a lot of stains to get out, because Jack has a way of soiling your what? Reputation. Oh, Jack, do you think you could soil me tonight? Now, right about now, somebody has just tuned into this channel. And they know it has to be Access TV, because no other station would allow something like this to be happening. So if I've just caught you for a moment, I just want to announce that this is live, and we are broadcasting from Somerville. That's in Massachusetts. It's near Cambridge. I like Cambridge. I want to admit all my biases right now, and I want to admit something else to you, that this show has low ratings. We announced that at the beginning. It has very low ratings. We have not had sex with anybody here. There has not been one mention of murdering or maiming anybody. There have been references to sexuality, though actually you did miss that. There were references to a few things that you may have found interesting. We did mention Monica Lewinsky. Geraldo Rivera is not here tonight, and there will be no Barbara Walters interview with Monica Lewinsky, or her father, or that other guy with the beard that was posing as her lawyer for all those weeks and months. And I want to mention something. I feel for that man because he was just swept into this whole thing. And, you know, the poor guy, he had to be on television constantly talking about himself. I feel for him. Now, I am not here to take a political opinion, but I do know that since you just tuned into the station, I have an obligation to say something to you, and that is this. Television, I feel, is in a very serious condition. And I'm going to get my serious demeanor. Do you mind? Oh, now you're going to tell me not to say this? Listen, if I don't tell the truth about this, you know what's going to happen, don't you? They're going to sit there complacently thinking that this is what life is. I mean, I'm thinking that when I watch television, I get confused sometimes. Do you know sometimes when something happens in the world, I can't tell if it's the thing that's actually happening or if I'm watching the rebroadcast of the thing where it's being analyzed and interpreted. And I get very confused.
And sometimes it makes me feel very little. And sometimes it gives me spit on the side of my mouth. 'Cause sometimes I spit up my food when I get scared and I want to take my remote control, my Time Warner remote control. I just plugged them. I wonder if they'll give me free pay-per-view. I would like a pay-per-view. And sometimes I just want to shut off the TV, but it won't shut off. Nobody except a cable access TV station would ever allow a grown woman to talk like this. Because you know why? When a person who is older talks like this, and they are betraying the truth that we're not all grown up all the time and we don't always have our act totally together, and sometimes we're sitting in a meeting and there is a very large group of people sitting there, and we are responsible for how that meeting will go. And in the middle of the meeting, we become aware that a child inside us wants to say, I want to go out and have something to eat. This meeting is boring.
Shut up. Don't say that right now. We are in a live TV moment.
Yeah, but this moment is very, very boring because there is nothing happening, and I've been sitting in a chair for about 10 hours and nobody came in and asked me anything. What would happen on TV if you twirled around the seat? Like, you're not, hey, look at me, Linda Blair, Exorcist. I could turn around, right? You're not supposed to do that.
Listen, what if I want to use this tape as a demo tape for something, and now I have to have my inner child plastered all over it? Do you see what you're doing to me? Could you just sit down and be quiet? Don't you remember that wonderful phrase that has been bandied about for centuries? Children should be seen and not heard.
I'm going to hold my breath and die on live television. But you will not hear anything. You will just see me die, and croak inside will get purple. And then the ratings will go up. Because everyone will call Channel 5 and they'll call Channel 4. They'll call Liz Walker. I like Liz Walker. I like her a lot because she's tall. And I'm tall too. And I could show you how tall I am by standing up, except I don't want to right now because I'm about to die. And then there would be a big news story tonight that someone in the Somerville Access TV, Somerville Producers Group, she killed herself for the ratings. She killed herself to get good ratings. And then it would, suddenly I would be.
I'd be famous, wouldn't I? You know what? That's probably what it would take for me to get famous. To kill myself on live TV, and then I'd be famous. But you see, that's already been done before. Somebody has already thought of that. Remember that person that shot themselves on air? Yeah. What? Yeah. That's what happens sometimes to anchors. Anchors have a tendency to shoot themselves on air. Did you know there are surveys that are done about that? Yes, there's been research on that subject. In fact, several anchors that I know shot themselves on air, and they're dead right now. Yeah. See, what I'm doing right now, I'm taking care of a physical need, because I know that you have had the opportunity during this whole program to switch channels, and I'm glad about that, to get up and eat something. And I just thought about, what if I have my needs met too, and just drink something and remember that I have a body, right? And hope that my inner child doesn't come popping out again. But you see, what I was talking about before has almost escaped me, but it just came back. I was talking about triangulation in relationship, and the fact that I can either go to you, or I can go to you, or I can go to you. And every time I'm with you, I know that you're giving me my left side. And I'm sitting here right now and I can't remember which side is my better side. And probably unconsciously, I have favored one of you more than the other tonight. And actually, when I'm in this position here, I don't know, something comes over me. I feel like I want to welcome you to Masterpiece Theater. Yes, now that I'm in this place, I'd like to welcome you to Masterpiece Theater and hope that you will feel, as I do, that this is a wonderful show. Now, I am not Alistair Cook. As you can see, I am not even a cook at all. I am a woman right now, sitting here with you with a partial, poorly transmitted British accent, because there is a Yankee in me that cannot help but want to speak like this, even when I am attempting to speak the Queen's English. When I speak the Queen's English, I get an immediate allergic reaction. Why? Because I am, what you might say, deeply, deeply rebellious against anything Anglo. Why would I mention that on Masterpiece Theater when I know I will be alienating my entire audience? Because I am rebellious. Now, while we're on the subject, I wanted to mention something. You see, I've been thinking about the Queen Mum, and I've been thinking about the Queen, and I've been wondering, what do they do when they're alone at night and the whole world is looking at them and they're thinking to themselves, I'm away right now from my pomp and my circumstance, and I'm alone. Do you think that people who are filled with so much pomp and circumstance actually ever feel, what? Lonely? I think it's possible. I mean, even right now, for example, if I were to pause long enough, I think I could contact some feelings of, I don't know, aloneness in the world. A sense of my place in a universe that is so large, a universe that is constantly expanding, a universe where quasars are being discovered that send hidden information about something called a black hole that most people don't even think really exists, but I believe does. Something that says that there is somewhere in the universe where all of matter and everything, light, everything gets sucked in. Gravity collapses on itself until it emanates out waves of what? Call it energy. And I sometimes feel very, very what? Excited and thrilled and simultaneously a little alone, because I know that I'm sitting here momentarily, well, in moments I could be anywhere. I was just on Masterpiece Theater and I could just be on an asteroid. Any moment I could be on an asteroid. I could be on an asteroid. Or I could just be whizzing along and all of a sudden I'm on Hale-Bopp. Hale-Bopp. What a name. Why would anyone want to call a comet Hale-Bopp? It made me think of the 50s. Bop, 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 ram. Hail, 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 bop, ram. There is my comet ram. I love my comet ram. Yeah, do ron,
do-ron, do-ron, do-ron. Well, I don't know about you, but when I saw that comet coming out of the sky, I was do-rondering myself right over there to the ranch. I looked over and I said to my husband, Pete, I said, there's a hail bop bopping through, Pete. Pete stopped real long and he just rested himself on his fence because he had been building a fence at the time, and he said, hey, it's a do-rop bop bop, do-rop a bop bop bop. It's all right, it's up there hail bopping around. And I said, Pete, I do believe something happening right now, Pete. In the moment that this hail bop is bopping around the sky, I feel something spiritual coming over me. I feel it so much that I have to put my hair back, because if I don't, my hair might just frizz right off my head.
In that moment, Pete and Pete's wife, I never got to know her name, they placed their hands, both of them, on her belly. And she looked down and she realized,
Oh, shucks, I'm pregnant.
Well, we didn't do it for quite a while. I don't know how that could have happened.
Pete, I got a confession to make for you, or to you. I don't know the right preposition because, well, I've been on the ranch so long I ain't been learning my prepositions like I should be. Pete, I think I got bopped by hail bop. Last night when I was sleeping, I felt something come into my bedroom. I could feel it coming right up.
Wait a minute there. What are you telling me now, Pete's wife? Are you saying to me that hail bop got in our bedroom and did some kind of hanky-panky with you?
I'm doing that indeed, dear. I'm saying that right now as you're building a fence, clear as you're building a fence. I'm telling you, I got bopped. I could feel it.
Oh, yeah, I think I'm going to have to get you down to a doctor and see what's going on in your brain.
Tonight's episode of Masterpiece Theater will take you on a wonderful rural journey into the South of America. For this reason, we have decided to have the program narrated by someone like me, who has no British accent, who has no particular affinity toward the British Isles, but who instead has a sense of that which is American. This show is Masterpiece Theater, made in America. And we'd like to say to you that this show was completely produced, directed, created in America. And every product that was used in this show is American. And actually, as I sit here right now, I am creating a product while I speak to you. I am a woman, and right now, I can feel it happening. I am creating an egg right now. Now, I know on television we don't usually talk about women making eggs. We don't usually talk about that. We just talk about the results of those eggs. But I know right now that an egg is in the making because I'm a woman. Excuse me? Oh, excuse me, I'm being called. Are you having feelings about me getting this personal? Well, I didn't know when we entered into the relationship that I was going to have to watch what I say, but I hear you. I hear you. I hear that it brings up feelings. No, I'm aware that this would bring up possessive feelings. You'd like to feel like you're the only one that I tell about my egg sensations. I have always lived an open life. Before we met, I talked freely about my eggs. And now, I hear you. Okay. No, I want you to know that you have an impact on me. And I will not tell about my eggs on Masterpiece Theater. I will not talk about it. No, I will experience it. You can't take that away from me. You can't take that away from me. You can't take that away from me. That's what I said the day we broke up. And you turned on that 40s tune and you just went dancing right out there, didn't you? You put on that movie because you knew that I would take myself away from you if you tried to control me. And I said to you, you can't take away my freedom. But you know what? I have to go on Masterpiece Theater now. Listen, I only have 5 minutes, okay? I have 5 minutes to go on air. There's only about, what, at most 7 minutes for me to get to the end of this story. Listen, I don't know if this relationship is going. Do you think this relationship... Look, I hired you to help me to work out this relationship. Do you think it has any possibility? I'm very open to what you say. I hear you. I hear that, okay, I hear that it's partly my issues and partly your issues. I hear that, but what I don't hear, I don't mean to interrupt. Okay, I have to interrupt. Okay, I don't need to interrupt, but what I don't hear anyone saying that my eggs have a valid self-expression that needs to be talked about. Nobody's talking about my eggs. You know, the closest we get, what? What do we talk about? What? Maybe we see now ads for what? Kotex? Can you say that on television? Kotex. But who talks about the eggs? No one talks about the eggs. Why do we only talk about one part of the cycle? What? I still have the whole cycle. And I can feel my days are numbered with that. So for as long as I have that cycle, I would like to talk about all aspects of it. I'd like to talk about the sensuous, wonderful, delicious experience of knowing that an egg is in the making. And more than that, knowing that that egg is American-made. It is. And there were no foreign workers involved in the assembly of that egg. That egg has a little flag on it. That egg is part of this land. This land is this egg. This land is my land. This land is yours. I'll change the lyrics, you couldn't matter, because you're not the songwriter, you're just a person watching at home, and I know you are watching me go out on a limb now and fall right down. You're wondering how long can she make a song up about this land it's made for you and me. You're more than no one, you're a person at home. You didn't write this song now, but neither did I. I've got an egg there, maybe you have a sperm or two. I'm not mad that you have more sperm than I have eggs. I feel so happy, and I'm sure you do. Please don't take my egg self-expression
away. If more people talked about their eggs and more people talked about their sperms wiggling around and said, well, you know, I think my sperms are wiggling around now and they need some attention, then maybe the world would not be so filled with bad things. I think sometimes if everybody was at the bus stop and they could say, hey, my egg's popping out, and then someone else could say, you wouldn't believe how many sperm I made this morning. And then someone else could say, my sperms are hot. And then someone else could say, I just made the most receptive egg of my life. And someone else could say,
I had eggs for breakfast.
ugh, that was the grossest segue that a person could make.
I like gross. I like gross because it's a measurement of weight that is ambiguous. I like it. I'd like to buy a gross. I'd like to buy 2 gross. I'd like to buy 3 gross. For some reason, when I say gross, I start thinking about Hugh Grant again. I don't know why. I am upset. It could be because I know he's on right now in Extreme Measures. You go and see. He is on with Gene Hackman right now while I'm speaking, and I want to show you how large I am. I invite you, right now, I invite you to switch the channel and go and see Hugh Grant in Extreme Measures and see what you feel when you watch it, you know? See if it feels like the right thing, and if that's not right, you could go see that cowboy in the movie star. Now, the other thing you could do is you could flip over. Mad About You was just on. Maybe you just came from Mad About You. And you know, if you were mad about you, now you're mad about me. I am not picky. I would like it if you would say to me one time, you know, and I'm not gonna make you feel bad if you don't want to say this, but if one time you want to call up and say to me, I'm mad about you. In fact, you could call up right now It's the end of the show. So why would I put the telephone number on at the end of the show? Well, I would do that for a very important reason, so that I could deprive myself of knowing that you called. Wouldn't that be great? Then, if you call, I would never know. In fact, you would call, and then I wouldn't be depriving myself. You know what would happen? If you call right now with the number that's going to appear on the screen, somebody would take the call and then tell me as soon as I get off the air, which is actually a metaphor because I'm not really on the air. I'm actually on a chair. But we see when you're on TV, you lose the ch. You don't go to the ch syllables. You just go to the air. You don't talk about chairs. You have to be cool when you're on TV. You just say, I'm on air. I'm not on chair, I'm on air. So when I get off air, they'll tell me that you called, and then I'll say, really? And you were mad about me? Well, I wasn't even aware you were watching. And then I'll say, well, gee, maybe I could have been as good as it gets. But then again, I'm a lot taller than Jack Nicholson, I think, and it would have been hard for him to play that with me, that scene. But then maybe they would have shot the whole thing with me sitting down, and it would have been a scene about a woman who always sits down. It would have been a whole movie about that. But that didn't happen. I'm not Helen Hunt. And I meant to say that at the beginning of the program. I'm sorry, I confused you, didn't I? I'm not Helen Hunt. And this is not Mad About You. And actually, I am not cast in a movie with Jack Nicholson. I'm not. And I'm sorry if I confused you about that too. And I hope I've lived up to what I said that I would do, which is to make sure that the ratings on this show would be low. I've done a lot to do. I've really worked hard to make sure that would happen. And I want you to know that the whole time you were watching, I was intimately aware, intimately experiencing this object. You see, we share this object in our lives. I have one and you have one. And you have had the right all evening. And I want to say all power to you, power to the people. Now, you know which decade I started learning about self-expression in, don't you? Power to the people. All power to you. In fact, right on. In fact, far out. Far out. I'm not going to say groovy because I never did in that period. And I hate when they do these retro 60s films and everyone is saying groovy. I never said groovy, okay? And I never called myself a hippie, okay? But I want to mention that you've had a chance to do this to me all night whenever you want to. And I've always wondered what it would be like to be here and doing this to you. And wondering if I were to just actually, what would happen? Would you go away? Would you ever come back? I hope you would. It's been a tremendously wonderful experience clicking on with you and clicking off with you. I hope you've enjoyed it too. Thank you for being in my present moment with me and your present moment with you. You see, there's a moment of silence. And there was music. And now what do? Because there's been music, and now there isn't music. Go.